Hello, I'm Jack Cox, author of Love Not Fear, and I'm with my usual co-host, Paul Simon Smith,
Hello,
who
everyone.
runs the excellent supplement company in Nutrient Nirvana. So how are you, Paul? What sort of week have you had?
Not too bad, thanks, mate. Yeah, very busy actually. This time of year is normally busy for nutrients and supplements and things like that, and people trying to make up for their Christmases. So I've been busy running to and from the post office, making up all sorts of concoctions and capsules and stuff. So I've been hard at it.
Well, I got the capsules from you and
Brilliant.
the liquid,
Yep.
so thank you very much for that.
That's the fulvic minerals, yeah?
Yeah.
Great.
I've just started using them, so it's too early to say how great they are, but I'm sure I'll
hmm
be saying that in a week or two.
hmm
But I really love the magnesium that you supply me with, because that's so much better than what you get elsewhere.
I think so. I hope so. Yeah, I put a lot of research into it, and the capsules contain 4 different types of magnesium, which is very important. So they're all naturally derived, and I've had a lot of positive feedback from people with gut issues and things like IBS and all those sort of things, and their symptoms have reduced dramatically with the magnesium. So, and magnesium is so important for everyone, and we're all deficient in magnesium because of various reasons. But the 2 big ones being that our soil has become depleted by all the spraying that they do now. So our food is lacking in minerals, and also the fact that not many people know this, but when we're stressed, and bear in mind that the last 2 years everyone's had their fair amount of stress, our bodies, as a consequence of that, burn magnesium. So when you're stressed, you burn the magnesium out of your system. So we do need to be constantly topping up on magnesium. So highly recommended, people.
We have a special guest with us who I'll introduce a little bit later. This Teresa
Fox.
Fox. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're very glad to have her. Now, she and you, Paul, are going to be talking together or separately about star thoughts.
Well, I've got a few things to say about Star Thoughts today. We did a part 1 last week, didn't we? And this is kind of part 2, but it's focused mainly on one particular star thought that me and Teresa both live very close to, Tilbury Star Thought in Essex. And we both went there today to have a look around, and it was very, very interesting. So we've got a few slides lined up, haven't we? So I was going to talk while we look at the slides, and then as soon as we've done with that, Teresa can come on and give us her thoughts on it, because she's been
Okay.
researching this as well.
Right. Because we have a slight bandwidth issue, when Teresa comes on, I'm going to go off
Okay.
just to make it easier. Yeah.
Okay,
Just to
mate.
reduce the bandwidth. Because when there's 3 of us on
Mm.
talking, it tends to go a bit croaky.
Mm.
So, yeah, if you want to do your presentation, that'd be great.
Well, we're going to do it now, are we?
If you want to.
I'm happy to do so. Yeah, definitely. I'll just keep my notes up. Here we are. Yeah, ready when you are. So, everyone, this is Tilbury Fort in Essex, on the River Thames. As you can see, it's a spectacular looking fort. Very interesting. I went there today, and it would appear, if you look closely at this picture, it would appear that the fort is truncated or cut off. You can only see part of it. To the right of your screen, you can see the riverbed, and the fort, I think, would be much bigger than that. But as I say, it's been cut off or truncated. So what's more, there are indications that some of the remaining part of the fort can be seen on the other side of the river, which is pretty crazy. So next slide, please, Jack. Yep. So there you can see it from an aerial point of view, and directly opposite the Tilbury Fort that you can see fairly central in the photograph there. On the other side of the river, you can see you might be able to make out that there may be part of the remaining part of the fort on the other side of the river. Next slide, please, Jack. Okay, and there's a closer look at the other side of the river, and you might just be able to make out fairly central in that photograph. It says New Tavern Fort with a little yellow pin, and to me, I can see possibly that the other side of the river, you've got the remaining part of the starfall. So that's obviously very, very strange. Next slide, please, Jack. So in addition to all that, this is on the other side, close, the other side of the river to the fort. There are many quarries in the surrounding areas. Now, were these part of an ancient star fort, quarried for their materials inside them and underneath them? That is a big possibility as well. Is there one more slide, Jack, or is that it?
You only sent me 4.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, you could go back to the original slide, the very first one, if possible. Okay, thanks. So the question that is begging to be answered here is, what came first? If it was the river, then why not build the forts a bit more inland in order to achieve more symmetry and cohesion? If the fort came first, then it must place it in an extremely old timeline, because the river has been there for at least 2,000 years, as we know the Romans sailed up it in AD 43. So in conclusion, we may have found evidence to suggest that these ancient star forts were of great antiquity and on our very doorstep in Tilbury. And that's the end of the presentation for today.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
The Thames hasn't changed course at all, has it?
Not too sure, but I know that Teresa, if we get Teresa on here, she knows, she's been researching this a lot this week and knows a fair few things. There she is. Can we hear you, Teresa?
I'm just going to mute myself because...
Hello.
Hello. Oh, you're loud.
Hello again.
Excellent. So, yeah, can you remember what initially got you into this particular line of inquiry with the star forts?
Watched a YouTube video that just did not make sense to me.
Okay.
And it was about all the big, beautiful buildings that we see in the city.
Mm-hmm.
With all the filigree and the big pillars and the domes and all the beautiful artwork and structure and magnificence of them all.
Mm.
And yet they have windows on the floor. That I've always asked myself that question.
It's a bit strange, isn't it?
It's just like, oh, that's strange. There's a window on the floor. Anyway, and carry on about my day. And I don't understand why you would dig down. And if they go that far back before we had power tools, what would be the point? Like, there's just so many questions there that just...
Yeah. So for people that are watching this that might not be too aware, about 3 or 4 years ago, a so-called conspiracy theory broke out on the internet, and it was talking about a large part of Europe that used to be called Tartaria, and it also alludes...
Great Tartaria, isn't it? Or as a whole?
Right. Okay. Quite possibly. Yeah. And it also alludes to a mud flood, didn't it, or like some sort of cataclysm that occurred.
Some massive catastrophic event.
Yeah. That occurred fairly recently in our history, not that long ago. We're talking maybe, what is it, Teresa, 200-300 years ago?
Yeah.
Sort of 17th, 18th century.
And if not, definitely the destruction of the story then. Or what we believe is the story, or what we're looking into, The destruction of that, definitely.
So this is a huge, great, big, deep, long rabbit hole, isn't it? You know, I remember coming across this about 3 or 4 years ago when it broke out, and I looked into it for a while, and there were some very plausible explanations for things, but what really got me was the fact that if this is true, if our like reality or whatever has been really, or our idea of history has really been distorted to that extent, what can we believe anymore? You know, what is true and what isn't? And at the time I remember thinking, I've got to leave this alone now and just go back to having a semi-normal life, because as I say, I'm a big fan of history, and this could kind of allude to a lot of history as we know it being false. And that really messed with my head at the time. So
well, I think it messes with everything, isn't it? Because it's everything we've been taught.
Exactly. So I kind of left it alone for a couple of years, 2-3 years, and then here comes Teresa reminding me about it all and talking about it very eloquently.
Well, it's funny. I just think it's strange how you might have put it to bed for a little while and boxed that away, and then I've come across it and asked you questions, and it's opened that box back up again.
Big time, yeah, I know. So
it was always obviously meant to be open.
Yeah, we actually went to the fort today, didn't we? We walked around it for about an hour or so. It was very cold, but it was very interesting seeing it. And there's lots of banks there. There's lots of there's
lots
also
of depressions, isn't there? Lots of steps.
Yeah, and you can even see out of some of these depressions and banks, just at the top of these banks, you can see like old red brick buildings creeping out, which I thought was very strange.
Yeah.
And you really can appreciate the water that, you know, sort of form these
absolutely magnificent,
and the geometric patterns that they make, and they seem to have gone to an awful amount of trouble to build these things just for like defense purposes.
Definitely.
So there's something else going on with it.
And not only that, but my question there would be, if you build the fort in the shape of a star as a defense, so that if we're under cannon fire, then we have more protection, if you like, because we've got all these points. The Tilbury is only half a star, and our enemies would have come from the river, and that straight line is straight across the river. That doesn't protect us from any cannon fire, because the shape is at the back of the river. If it's supposed to be protection, like you said, surely that shape should have been brought more inland, so that the points were facing out to the river.
Yep, completely. I totally agree with you there.
It doesn't. The design just seems a little bit backwards.
Absolutely.
Flipped around.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question?
Of course.
How old are these star forts? How old is Tilbury Fort? Would it predate cannons?
Yeah. Do you know the official dating, Teresa? And if not, can you find out for me?
I'm going to pull it up now.
Yeah. I've got a feeling it's going to be... I don't know. I'm not too sure. So, drum roll for the answer.
Well. Okay, so it says Tilbury Fort was built on a site dissolved by Henry in 1536.
Okay, so roughly 500 years old, just under.
Not that old then.
No. But as I say, I think these things are much, much older.
Yeah, you think they're built on the foundations of something?
Very possibly, very possibly that. Yeah. And as we've said, like if you visit one of these forts and you walk around them, you see the amount of trouble that's gone into building them, the patterns of the water, and how it's just incredible. And it just doesn't make any sense to me that they've gone to all that trouble just to, for defense purposes. It's very odd. So we're obviously going to delve into this a lot more.
I have a couple of questions. I'm just thinking out loud. Okay, so the fort was built in the site. Was built on a site and dissolved by Henry in 1536. The fort was born, blah, 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 that's and extended for defences. There's also like the 1588, that one, so that's like 1500s. Ralph Dodd attempted to build a tunnel, which we will go into in a minute, won't we, Paul, the tunnel?
Yeah, definitely. We've got to mention that.
Yeah, so it was what I can find out so far. It was Ralph Dodd that come up with the idea for this tunnel, and that was in 1798. Now, surely we would have had a crossing before then. If this fault is 1500s, we would have had some sort of way to cross the river back and forth, whether it be by boat, by tunnel, by something 1500 wise. So I've sent you a couple of WhatsApps and the pictures.
Yeah, I've received them. I'll look at them after the show. I didn't have time. I just want to mention as well, Abigail's here. Hello, Abigail. She has said they might have been built on a pagan site. They did this with churches. So that's definitely
interesting.
A possibility.
Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely history built on top of history, built on top of history, built on.
Yeah. Absolutely. So can you elaborate, Teresa, on the tunnel the tunnel story?
Okay, so I've heard from an old friend that there was, as he understands it, from a book he read back in the 1800s, there was a tunnel that supposedly run from the Fault to Gravesend. Since then, it's been blocked up, destroyed, flooded, what have you, and no one knows.
It was referred to as a cable tunnel, wasn't it?
Yeah, cable tunnel.
Cable tunnel.
Apparently, that's what it's known for now. That's the name it's like been given if you're looking for it. So Ralph Dodd started this scheme, if you like, of the Tilbury Tunnel in 1798. He is the author of various papers at that time on aspects of engineering. Born in 1756, studied practical mechanical engineering and architecture. Then it's saying there's an advertisement that I've sent to you that apparently come from around that period for a dry tunnel. It was going to be a dry tunnel or a passageway. So in 1798, there's this attempt for this tunnel. Nothing else is mentioned about this tunnel until 1914.
Wow.
From what I can find. So there is a big gap in time there.
Yep, 116 years.
And yet this is a fault we're on about for military to keep our country safe. I'm just surely there'd be a bit more detail about and around that. Then, so 1914 they then build the ferry, if you like, for the floating pontoon or whatever it is that you call it, for military to cross them across the water. 1929, the bill for Dartford Tunnel come in. Started 1936, ended 1938. The war then started and money was diverted to that rather than the tunnel. So they flooded the tunnel. They started it and flooded it. War hit. We didn't restart the tunnel again until 1959 and then opened Dartford Tunnel 1963. The advertisement that I've sent you from 1798 and the document, the page that I'm reading does say that this is the advertisement from that period. It's written by a typewriter, but that didn't come out until 1867. There's 100 years difference between that.
What do you make of all this so far, Jack?
To be honest, I'm out of my depth with it because it's not a subject I know anything at all about. I'm leaving it to you two. But I'd love to know more about the ancient origins of it, if indeed it does have ancient origins, rather than the more recent history.
My thoughts on this tunnel was that they were never building a tunnel. 1978, I think they may have found something. Rather than an attempt to build, I think it was a treasure hunt, if you like.
Okay, yeah.
They found something and everything stops and disappears until 1914. There's nothing. You can't find anything. That's a long period. And then it diverts into it being a fort and it's military and it's this and it's that, it's defense, it's not just a tunnel anymore. He wanted to connect it for horse and cart, but I'm going to have to send you the pictures, Jack, because the imaginary plans, they look like the design and the architecture of these big, magnificent buildings we're talking about. So did they build something or did they find something?
And so this is basically like, this is referring to Tartaria that I mentioned earlier, and the fact that this was a very a big empire back in, you know, sort of 200, 300, 400 years ago, that's been completely deleted from history.
Completely wiped out, gone.
Yeah, and there's a lot of evidence for it. I should mention at this point, if you want to get a bit more clued up on this, a great documentary you can watch on YouTube is called Stolen History. It's
fantastic documentary.
Yeah, it's really good. It's in 3 parts, and each part is about an hour long each way. So it's well worth watching. And like I say, it's this crazy rabbit hole because it's so close to where we are at the moment in terms of history. You know, this only happened. It was only really covered up 150 years ago.
Yeah.
Just to play devil's advocate for a minute, this time gap, there could be something suspicious in it, or it could just be they ran out of funds.
Yeah, it could be that. There could be a logical explanation. Yeah.
Could be.
We find that a lot with public works, don't we? That the money runs out and then sometime later it's picked up again when there's more money available.
What I questioned about that, because that did run through my head, was the wording of the document that I was reading doesn't say that they'd run out of money or it fell into disrepair or anything. It does say that the war started, so the tunnel was flooded. Like as if it was done on purpose. If you've spent all that money, why then go and destroy it?
Which war was that?
Second.
Yeah. Yeah, second.
I can't see any reason to do that in the Second World War, no.
No.
There were no enemy forces on British land.
Why flood it? And then just to restart it again as Dartford Tunnel. It's a very costly project.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're going to try and find out a bit more about this cable tunnel if we can. That's that connects the fault. And
it's a lot of money and a lot of years and a lot of time to get across a river. And I just think I'd spend more of that time and more of that money and more of that effort covering something up.
Could be.
That's just me.
So let's do an episode 3 next week on it, shall we?
Yes, definitely.
I think so. I also want to talk about cymatics as well in connection with the star faults, because that's very interesting too. I won't say any more on that for now. I won't spoil it, but there's a couple of very interesting videos on that as well. So that'll be part of what we discuss in the near future. Right. But I just really want to find this cable tunnel. I'm fascinated by that. The possibility, I say possibility, that there might be some old tunnel that was built in the Tartarian style that connected the fault or whatever, and just finding that would be mad. It'd be like being Indiana Jones or something.
With the whip.
Get me cowboy hat and me whip out, mate, for that. Next time we go to Tilbury, Teresa,
definitely send you a whip.
Brilliant. Yeah. And Abigail has said, it's going down the proverbial rabbit hole. The more you look, there is loads more to find. That is exactly right, Abigail. That's the trouble with all this, you know. You get to the next stage of your investigation, and you've got another 10 roads you can go. It's just never ending. It's a lot of fun, but as I was saying to my sister-in-law down there today, you know, every now and again it's good to have give your brain a little break from it, because it can send you around a twist. But it's fascinating stuff.
Quick question, because I'm using a different internet today.
Okay.
And I think we may have solved the bandwidth problem. Does it sound all right to you with the three of us?
Actually, that's the point. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, we're all communicating really well. We're not like what I notice sometimes is if I'm talking, then somebody else talks, then my audio cuts out straight away. But that's not happening today. So well done, Jack.
Right. Okay. So I'll leave all three of us on. So you've got a few more things to talk about, Paul, haven't you? But so rather than make it a monologue, shall I come in and do part of what I've got to do, just part of it, and actually put the rest of the thing you want to talk about.
Yeah, sure, whatever. I know Teresa wants to do another mindful meditation, and which is.
I'll wait until everyone's finished. I'll do mine right at the very end.
All right. Abigail says it's sounding.
A couple of things I want to say. I think if we break it up a little bit, it just makes it more interesting. The first thing I want to talk a little bit about groups.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I'm going to do is a little bit of a downer. I don't like criticizing anybody, but the first thing I've got to do is just give a little warning. I mean, by all means, join whatever groups you like. It's up to you. But I just want to give you all a heads up. There's a group out there called the Venus Project.
Oh, I've heard of that.
And they make themselves out to be one of us with the same sort of objectives. But if you drill down into it, what they're actually promoting is a I can't even say it. No, I can't even say it, but you know what I mean.
Say it for
me, Paul. Say it for me.
Say what?
Technocracy.
Technocracy.
Yeah, that's the
Technocracy.
One. Yeah. Where they put the scientists and technicians in charge of the rest of us.
Yeah.
So just be very, very careful of the Venus Project. I've had a lot of discussions with them, and I think it's a mask for something much deeper.
What is it focused on, the Venus Project, Jack?
Well, it's the same as the other projects I've been talking about, the Trinity Project and the, I'm going to talk about in a minute, a group called the Community. But as I say, I think it has a darker agenda.
Okay, yeah. Is it
anyway?
Go on. Is it any way connected to climate change?
Not as far as I know.
Oh, okay. All right then.
It's about building the new Earth, but building the new Earth in a totally different way than the way you and I want it, Paul.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Zeitgeist movement and the Zeitgeist film that came out many years ago, and that seemed to me to have a communist slant to it, if I remember rightly, and I kind of backed off of that. So yeah, we don't like communism on this channel.
No.
Right.
So I'm going to talk briefly now about the Community. The group is simply called the Community. It's similar to the Trinity Project that I introduced a couple of weeks ago. Let me just read what it says on their website. It's time for free thinkers to come together. It's time to stand up and make a difference. It's time for action. Excuse me. It's time for unity now before it's too late. Let's reignite lost communities. A vision for the community. A national independent community free from governance and tyranny, focused on freedom and skill sharing. Mission for the community. To build a network of free thinkers around the country. This network will act as a support system and build independent, sustainable off-grid communities that don't rely on wider systems and current infrastructure, including, but not limited to, education, healthcare, farming, energy, power, laws, construction, and much more. This network of free thinking individuals will come together, and if the current system collapses or can no longer provide support and safety to the people of this country, and pool resources to ensure that no one goes without and a brighter future is created. Relearn forgotten skills, build connection, pool resources, take back our freedom, and build a positive future. Are you ready? When you join the community, you become part of a national network of free thinkers who are all fighting for our freedom and autonomy. Discover events happening in your local area and support the cause using your current skills or by learning new ones. And as usual, I will put a link below in the description. So I'm going to introduce a couple of other groups later on if I've got time.
Yep.
But if you want to just do part of it, what you wanted to do, Paul, or maybe we can have Teresa's meditation.
Let's have Teresa's meditation. I've been looking forward to that.
You're going to throw me on right now. Okay.
Especially after last week. It was really nice. I really enjoyed that.
No worries.
I'm going to put you up full screen, Teresa.
I'm just going to get my lights.
Oh.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this mindfulness meditation. We're going to take a few minutes just to get ourselves comfortable, settle into the space. In this meditation, I want you to focus on your breath and your breath only. Now take 3 deep breaths, pulling the air all the way down. Notice that brief pause between each inhale and exhale. Feel the air hitting your nose and the back of your throat. Just follow the air as it fills your lungs. Notice the rise and fall of your stomach as you breathe in and breathe out. Any wandering thoughts, come back to the breath. Notice any sensations. Don't try and follow them. Don't engage with them. Just notice them. Come back to the breath. Breathing is something that we all take for granted. Breathing is something we all take for granted. And we do it without even thinking. And it's nice to bring us back to the here and now when we focus on our breath. It's telling me breathing time's up. Yeah, we take breathing for granted, we really do. And it's nice just to give yourself a little bit of quiet time, some sacred time if you like, where you can really tune into you and how you're feeling and separate your feelings from the outside world and separate the outside world from you, so that you can create a space, this space that is just yours. So thank you for coming along and breathing with me. I wonder if Jack and Paul are back now. Hello.
Hello, that was nice.
That was
very nice.
Beautiful. That was beautiful, Teresa. Thank you.
Can I just add, I really enjoyed Jack's vocal in the background there as well. Very nice, Jack. Well sung, mate.
What did you enjoy?
Your vocal in the background. It was very nice. Didn't know you had it in you. Touch of the Peter Gabriel's going on there.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll take your word for it. But Abigail's just said that her son tells her which groups to stay clear of. So that's great. And then she said, that sounds brilliant, Jack. Thank you. So I imagine
that's referring to your new audio, I think, or the new system where we can all hear each other and talk at the same time.
Yeah, it could be, or it could be talking about the community. So.
Yep. Hello, Jackie.
Oh, hi, Jackie. Thanks for coming on. It's lovely to have you here.
Yeah.
Right. So before I go into my next bit, do you want to give your next bit, Paul?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about some very good news that's happened over the last couple of days. So people might be aware of this. The FDA were ordered to release all the Fluvid needlework documents by this summer. Initially, they wanted to release them by 2097, the cheeky rascals. But they've been told by, I think it was some sort of non-governmental organisation, that they've got to release them by this summer, 30,000 pages a month.
It was a High Court judge, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, that's right. And he was appointed by Trump as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. 55,000 documents a month.
Yeah, something like that. So this is very good news.
Instead of 500.
Yeah. So
well, that'll be interesting because apparently they falsified some of their research.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
If we're going to talk about the data, if you've got someone that does fall sick during trials and you pull them out and then don't include those in your overall study, that would be falsifying it, wouldn't you? And there seems to be a lot of rumours of that going on. So
absolutely, and I said something about that a couple of weeks ago on this show.
It's not a complete study,
I actually read a report by somebody who was involved, if you remember. So yeah, it's all ties together.
Yeah. So this is very, very promising news. So fingers crossed it happens, and all the documents don't suddenly go missing. We lost them. We can't find them. Where did they go? You know, another Jeffrey Epstein job or whatever.
Well, I think that's a repeat of everything, isn't it? Didn't Teresa May do the same over a child abuse case?
Yes.
Well, she wanted to become Prime Minister, didn't she? And she was Home Secretary at the time. And I said at the time, I mean, I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I think part of the deal to make her Prime Minister was to kick that report about the child abusers under the carpet.
Yep, almost
because
certainly.
As soon as she became Prime Minister, that report suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, very, very odd.
I think they're all in it together.
God, definitely, mate, definitely.
Very big web of lies, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you see the Daily Record post on Facebook about 2 or 3 days ago? It's been taken down by the Daily Record due to the amount of negative response it had. But basically, this post said, should Scotland copy Australia's example and introduce internment camps? And this was did you see that? It was a question asked to its readership by the Daily Record. I mean, that's just incredible, isn't it? So, you know, when we've talked about
the agenda that they're all working towards.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been talking about it for a couple of years now, internment camps and all the rest of it. Well, I mean, the likes of Alex Jones has talked about FEMA camps for decades now. But as soon as the Daily Record mentions it, it's you know, it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. Suddenly it's you know, it's in the mainstream. But
well, they've already got them in Australia. They're calling them isolation camps.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure the Daily Record referred to them as internment camps.
That's what they are, basically.
Yeah, basically that's exactly what they are. They didn't stipulate whether they're for people who are sick or whether they're for people who've not received the toxic crap. So yeah, but I thought that was very, very interesting, and it's almost impossible to pull that up now on the internet. It's been buried. So that was due to the negative response of its readership. We're all like, no, you must be out of your box. So yeah, that's really good news.
Well, Scotland have always been a step or two closer to this totalitarian nightmare than England. For all the things that are said against our wonderful Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, and he's done a lot of terrible things, I think we've got to thank him for holding back the tide a little bit. I'm sure he's under a lot of pressure, and he's not conforming to the extent that they want him to.
Possibly, or is he just playing a part, Jack? Is he playing the nice guy? I don't know.
Or is he under pressure because of the people?
Maybe. I mean, I just see it all as theatre. I really do. I do think, though, at the same time, if we had a socialist government in charge of things, it would be far worse than it is now in terms of lockdowns and rules and regulations and mandates and all the rest of it. I'm sure it'd be far worse.
Well, Starmer wants things even worse, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think we can all agree that you're not really free.
Government policy. He's not. He's egging them on.
Yeah, the way I see it, you know, if you had a socialist government, you'd be a lot closer to a dystopian future that way. So, yeah, who knows?
Right.
We've got another couple of comments here, Jack, from Abigail.
Well, Abigail's just said that she was talking about the community, and that's great.
Yeah, I've got one here. It says, it's all bent. Someone has made a lot of money out of this. Definitely. There's a few more billionaires now. There it is on the screen. And there's one more.
Follow the money.
Follow the money, as always. Follow the money, everyone.
I spent a couple of years, well, a bit more than a couple of years, involved in journalism when I was younger. And the very first thing they taught us is follow the money.
Exactly. And we've got one more comment there from Abigail Jack. There's one more. It's a longer one, if you can see it on your... That's the one. I've not taken the poison, and we as a family have the flu at the moment. Son had it for 2 days. Hubby and I are still not well. The best advice I can give you there, Abigail, and it's just advice from a friend. You know, I'm not telling anyone what to do exactly. It's just my advice. What I would do, bless you, is get hold of some ascorbic acid, otherwise known as pure vitamin C powder, and try taking a level teaspoon once every 2 or 3 hours in water. And if you catch it early enough, the symptoms persist very, very, very quickly. If you've had it for a couple of days, it's going to make you feel much better than you do at the moment anyway. So that would be my advice. Vitamin C will overcome any virus in big enough, meaningful doses. So, yeah, get hold of some.
My perspective on that, as you all probably remember from last year, I was down with it for a month. We missed one show. I truncated the next one halfway through because I was coughing and spluttering too much. But basically, I was more or less out of action for a month. And it's the worst flu I've had for a very long time. And everyone was telling me, oh, you've got the bogey bug, the big CV thing. And I said, no, I haven't. And I know I haven't because I had exactly the same flu with exactly the same symptoms in Oslo 4 years ago before they even invented the bogey bug.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people that have had bad flus, a lot of really bad flu going around. And they're all saying, oh, I've got the bogey bug. Maybe some of you have. I don't know. I'm not going to say like a lot of people say that it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that.
Jack, I can remember having the flu as a kid and losing my taste losing my sense of taste and smell. But now all of a sudden it's their symptoms.
I remember that as a kid. Yeah. I remember that as a kid. I knew I was coming down with a cold as a kid because there were certain things I couldn't eat, like salt and vinegar crisps because I couldn't taste them, and tomato ketchup and the smell of bread. All of it, yeah. You know you're going to be ill. It changes all of that.
Hi, Cheryl. Lovely to have you here.
Hi, Cheryl. Abigail said, thanks, Paul. I've been on strong echinacea, teacher, and manuka honey. Excellent. Ginger, turmeric, lemon, all those sort of things are great. But really, honestly speaking, pure vitamin C powder, that is the number one best thing.
I know a lot of people at the moment who've had the flu. And it just seems to be trendy somehow for them to claim they've had the bogey bug.
Probably, yeah. Sad,
and
isn't
most of them get over it within a week. It's flu season, folks.
Yeah. And what is flu season? Flu season is lack of sunshine season or lack of vitamin D season. There is no bug hiding behind the skirting board all year round, waiting for winter, and it suddenly jumps out and bites you on the bum. That's a load of old rubbish. It's lack of vitamin D season, people.
So and our bodies also need to have a shed to get rid of toxins and build-ups and nasties. So it's our own body's natural sewer system. We need to get it out somewhere. We'll be very sick if we don't.
Yep, totally agree. But vitamin C, vitamin D is what you need. 100%.
Right. One other thing I just wanted to talk about. Well, there's a couple of other things I want to talk about. We've mentioned healing gardens before on this show. Juliet Yalberton's community garden down in Glastonbury. What we haven't mentioned as much is from the same location. She's a very talented lady. She also runs Healing Waters Sanctuary, which you can book a room there just as a B&B, or you can go and enjoy the therapies, or you can get involved in the trauma therapy that goes on there. Juliet is also a qualified trauma therapist. As I say, wonderful, multi-talented lady. And I've just set up a new Facebook group, and I'll put the link down below as usual, called the Friends of Healing Water Sanctuary. So anyone who's been or wants to go or is interested, please come. It's an open group, it's a public group. Please come along and get involved. There's lots of pictures and stories and my own personal experiences and some videos and stills I took last year when I was there last. And also news about things generally that are going on in Glastonbury that you can enjoy while you're staying at Healing Waters.
It's magical.
Just a quick plug there for the new group.
It's absolutely magical. I've been there twice now, and I've had the best time of my life on both occasions. It's a lovely setting. It backs out onto fields you can see for miles and miles and miles, and it's absolutely beautiful. And you just poke your head round the corner and you can see the top of the Glastonbury tour. And the people there are absolutely lovely. The staff, Juliet, they're all lovely people. Abigail's just commented and said, Juliet has a strike against her. They are beautiful women helping people. Absolutely. You know, I can't echo that, agree with that enough. It's she's a lovely lady and she's got a team of lovely people working with her.
She has one of the sacred springs, doesn't she?
She does.
I want to go in the summer. I really do. I'm hoping.
Yeah, there's a sacred spring in the field, and I put a video up. You can see there's a ring of bushes, a ring of trees, and it's in the middle of that, and you can see in the video
lovely.
there it is.
I think we should all go for solstice.
Yeah, so do I.
There's a little gate. You can just walk out of the back of the house, down the stairs, through the gate, and you're straight into the sacred spring. And I love to go there, just to go down there and meditate and do ritual. And there's also a beautiful video up there of Juliet doing a ritual there in the pouring rain.
Yeah, that was Christmas Day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did it on Christmas Day, and she was going to literally go right into the centre of it, but I think she changed her mind at the last minute. But yeah, that was a lovely video. All her videos that she does, recently she's been walking on the beach and just kind of talking to everyone watching, and they're magical videos. And Mabi as well, Mabi, her friend, her French friend, her videos as well are really lovely. They're really uplifting, always in and around nature. And words from the heart, and
words from the heart, very gentle.
Exactly, and they're
another
doing
magical soul.
Yeah, definitely.
Very
So check it out. They've got a website, and check out Juliet's videos on YouTube because they're lovely. They're really nice to watch. They always put me in a good mood.
They radiate love.
Absolutely.
What do you mean about the strike against it, Abigail? If you can say a bit more about that. Do you mean on Facebook? Do you mean on YouTube or what?
I wouldn't have thought YouTube because you have to really go to town to get a strike. No, might be Facebook. I'm banned on Facebook, but that's
me
just.
too.
Oh yeah.
Well
done.
Join the club. I've been banned on there, I think 4 times last year.
Yeah, about the same for me as well.
I didn't even know.
I've just come off a mini ban where they just restrict your reach for 90 days. I've just come off one of those. So
yeah,
if you haven't had a few bans on Facebook, you're not living the dream, are you?
Jack, Abigail's just confirmed that Juliet's strike was YouTube, which surprised me because, as I understand it, you really have to say something extremely controversial to get a strike.
Surprises me.
Yeah, that does.
Well, I've got one against me just for stating government figures off the government website.
Was that YouTube, was it?
Yeah, it's YouTube.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll have
I had
to
a
up my
video
game.
taken down and they gave me 1 strike.
Okay. Yeah, so what are they so frightened of, eh? What are they scared of? People talking freely. Yeah, Abigail, need to save the pennies up to visit her hopefully this year. So, yeah, I think we should all get together at the Healing Gardens at some point, hopefully this year, maybe solstice, because it'd be magic to all be together, one tribe, one love.
Yeah, all connect.
Yeah, we'll have to start sorting that out soon. I did talk a while ago about having a Zoom call between a few of us, maybe once a fortnight or once a month. That would be good as well. I'd love to do that. I know I've got people at my end that would be up for it. So I'll have to pull me what's it out and, get things rolling.
Let's see if we can get that organised. And
I will this week.
We can mention it on here one week for the coming few days. And
yeah. So we should have a date fixed for that by next week's show.
Something else I just want to say is I'm in the process of editing a brilliant video that Paul's made about Jesus.
Yep.
And he'll be putting that up on his channel in the next 2 or 3 days if we can get the technical side of it working out. It's a huge file. It's taken a while. But there's something else to watch out for.
Yeah, so I interviewed a gentleman called Ralph Ellis, who's quite a famous author, and I can't think of a greater researcher that I've ever come across. This guy's incredible, and please look out for that video, because Ralph has managed to find the Jesus character in the historical record, and he found this guy in the Syriac records, where nobody had really looked before. And there's lots of evidence that he's, kind of mounted up to prove it. It's a huge story that connects with Egypt, Cleopatra, and it's absolutely fascinating. The books are well worth getting, but hopefully, as Jack says, we'll have that uploaded to YouTube in the next 2 or 3 days. So look out for that, because he's a fascinating guy, really clever guy. I think he's written 10 books on biblical history, and they're really, really good read. So look out for those people.
I don't necessarily agree with it all, but it's controversial, and that's what I love. I love controversy.
It makes you think. It's controversial, but Jack, I would say, if you can, mate, read the books, because there's a lot more in the books than we could fit into a 1 hour, 30-minute video.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you can read the books, that would be great.
One thing I particularly like about it is that he exposes this Paul Saul character as somebody working for Rome, which is something I've been saying now for 20 odd years. And I kept meaning to write a book about it, but I never got round to it. And I'm really glad that Ralph Ellis has done that now.
Yeah.
It saves me a job. It saves me a heck of a lot of research. Yeah. But it was just so obvious to me, because I've known a couple of con artists in my time, and it's just so obvious to me that this sudden conversion on the road to Damascus, after having persecuted the early Christians all his life, that this character would suddenly change his mind and then be taken into the bosom of their organization. And then end up moving them to Rome and putting them under the yoke of the Roman Empire. That sounds to me very much like something that was planned, that he was going to do that and subvert the early church of Jesus and Jaime, James, and start calling them Christians and put them under the yoke of Rome. That's been my theory for a very, very long time, and it's lovely to see Ralph Ellis has actually done something with that.
I take it you've heard of the Cathars, Jack?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, as I understand it, there was the Church of Jesus and James. James was Jesus's brother.
Yeah.
And that was quickly kind of quashed and got rid of. But the Cathars, those people managed to keep the secrets of that particular religion ongoing, and the Church of Saul is basically Roman propaganda. So Christians are basically worshipping the opposite of what they should be worshipping. They're worshipping Jesus's enemy, if you like, in Saul.
Mm-hmm. So the opposite of everything Jesus stood for.
Yeah, exactly. Mate, we're just gone past the hour now. So is there anything else that anybody would like to add today?
Well, as I say, I've got another couple of pieces to do, but they can wait till next week. This is the way I like to keep lots of little bits, because then if we run over, I can always save some till next week.
Okay.
I have just been sent something interesting from a friend that says smugglers' tunnels, underground shelters, military hideouts, deep caverns in and around Gravesend from pre-Roman times.
Wow.
So I'm going to go and do some digging tonight now.
So am I. Look out for that next week, everyone.
Yeah, let's do some research on that, and we'll do it on another show. Are you going to be? I'm going to put you on the spot now, Teresa. Are you going to be a regular?
If you want me to be.
Yeah, that'd be lovely if you could. It makes it so much more interesting, especially now I seem to have the bandwidth sorted out.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Lovely.
And I mean, anyone else that's watching as well, you're always welcome to come on. We encourage that. We want as much interaction in the chat box as we can get. Abigail's been on fine form today. So, come just to say hello, if nothing else, but you can ask questions.
You're there.
Exactly, yeah. So we had some very good viewing figures last week. I think we went over the 100 mark for the first time. So that was very nice. So, we'd like as much interaction as possible.
Anybody who's watching the replay, if you didn't make it on live, that's fine. And if you want to come along, we're here every Monday at 6:30 UK time. And if you want to actually come on screen with us, then just shoot me a message and I'll make sure you get the invite link. Come and talk about anything that if you're running a project, please, anybody who's actually running a project, instead of me having to talk about it secondhand, please do come on and talk about it for yourself.
Yep. If anyone's watching from Community United, our group in Thurrock, you're more than welcome to come on. Pauline, Teresa, Debbie, Hazel, anyone, come on with us and talk about the plans you've got for the group. Hopefully the community garden. We'd love to hear about it.
Well, I'd love to hear about your community garden very much, because that's my main thing. That's what I'm interested in. And my idea that we should have a book
share. I think we should have a book share or some sort of library.
That's a good idea.
That'd be good, yeah.
That's a good idea.
The telephone boxes that are now used, especially if you find them in Colchester and places like that, old telephone boxes with all the books in. I think we should have a community book swap, community library, book club, something along those lines, because
I think that's a great idea, Teresa. That's your project, mate.
Yeah, things are nice to have a book, isn't it? Things get lost in the digital world.
Very true.
The other thing I just want to say ever so quickly, because as some of you know, I live in Stafford. Probably won't be here forever, but at the moment I'm living in Stafford, and I've just joined Stafford Resistance. And anybody else in the area, we meet on a Wednesday at 7:30. Well, 7:30 for 8. And again, get in touch with me, send me a message, and I'll give you all the details. We're doing lots of stuff. Or maybe I'll talk about it in more detail later.
Great. Okay. Yeah. And if you're in the Essex area, look out for Community United.
Okay. So shall we wind it up for today?
Why not? Okay.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me.
Teresa.
Thank you.
Namaste.
See you next week.
Okay.